Let me tell you something that's probably going to make you uncomfortable. I knew a man who did everything right. Good job, good money. In the gym 4 days a week, bought her flowers on random days for no reason. Never cheated, never even looked. And she left him. For a guy who made half his money and lived with 2 roommates. When he told me the story, he kept asking me the same question over and over. How? How did this happen? I gave her everything. And I looked at him and I said, that's exactly the problem. You gave her everything except the one thing that actually matters. Stay with me till the end, because I'm about to hand you that one thing. The secret 90% of men will chase their whole lives and never find. In this video, I'm going to show you what really moves a woman on the inside. Not tricks, not lines, not games. The real thing. The thing that makes a woman fall deeper or walk away for good, and why most men never even see it happening. And I'm going to be straight with you the whole way, because I'm on your side here. I've watched too many good men get destroyed by something nobody ever warned them about. So let me warn you now, while there's still time. Let's start with the man who lost her. I'm not going to say his name honestly. It could be any one of 1,000 men. This man was the perfect boyfriend. By every measure you can name, he did it right. He remembered her birthday, her mother's birthday, the name of the dog she had as a kid. He texted her good morning every single day. He planned the dates. He paid for everything. When she was upset, he dropped whatever he was doing and ran to her. He gave her his whole world. And one afternoon she sat him down and told him she loved him, but she wasn't in love with him. That something was missing. 3 months later, she was with somebody else. Somebody who, on paper, gave her less of everything this man ever gave her. So here's the truth he didn't want to hear, and maybe you don't either. He thought love was a trade. Put in kindness, get out loyalty. Put in gifts, get out attraction. Put in good morning texts, get out her staying forever. But a woman's heart is not a machine you feed coins into. It doesn't work like a bank account. And the day he started trying to buy her feelings with all that effort, he started losing them. Because he never learned the one skill underneath everything, how to actually move a woman's emotions. And the men who never learn it will keep losing women to guys who have less, but understand something they don't. Let me make sure you understand it. Now, when I say control a woman's emotions, I need you to hear me carefully, because I don't mean what the weak men mean. I'm not talking about manipulation. I'm not talking about mind games or memorized lines or that pickup artist nonsense where you perform a script and pray she doesn't notice you're acting. I'm talking about something real. I'm talking about influence, emotional leadership, the ability to set the mood of your relationship instead of being dragged around by it. The ability to be the calm center while everything else spins. That's what a woman actually responds to. Not your car, not your muscles, not how many compliments you throw at her a day. She responds to how you make her feel. And making somebody feel something means you first have to understand how feelings actually work. Let me give you a number that should wake you up. In all my years watching relationships up close, I'd guess maybe 10% of men truly understand this stuff. The other 90% are just reacting blindly. They do something, she gets cold, and they have no idea why. They do something else, she lights up, and they have no idea why that worked either. They're walking through their relationship blindfolded, stepping on landmines they never saw. But the men who understand, they almost never get cheated on. They almost never get blindsided by a breakup. They see the trouble coming months out because they can read the weather in the room. That's the difference. And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to read it too. Here's the idea most men never grasp in their entire lives. So don't move. The exact same thing you do can make her love you more, or make her lose all respect for you. And the only difference is who you are when you do it. Let me prove it. A good morning text. Sweet, right? In month 1, she screenshots it and sends it to her friends. He's so sweet. By month 8, if you've been too available, too eager, too predictable, that same text makes her roll her eyes. Same text, different man behind it. Same with a gift. A man she's crazy about can hand her a cheap flower from a gas station and she'll press it in a book and keep it for 10 years. A man she's lost respect for can hand her $1,000 bouquet and she'll just be figuring out how to say thanks without leading him on. The flower is nothing. The man holding it is everything. That's why just be nice to her is the worst advice ever given. It's not wrong, exactly. It's just useless on its own because it skips the only thing that matters: who you're being. Context is everything. The gesture is almost nothing. So how do you become the man whose gestures actually land? It starts somewhere most men never look. It starts with you. Before you can ever move her feelings, you have to be able to control your own. Sounds obvious. Now watch how most men actually behave. She doesn't text back for 3 hours, and he spirals. She mentions a guy from work, and his stomach drops. She's a little quiet one evening, and he immediately starts asking, "What's wrong? Are you mad at me? Did I do something?" Understand what that is. That reactivity is repulsive to a woman on a level she can't even explain. Not repulsive in a cruel way. I mean, it triggers something deep and old in her brain that says, this man can't protect me, because he can't even protect himself from his own feelings. The man who panics when she pulls back an inch. The man who gets jealous over nothing. The man who needs constant reassurance. He's broadcasting weakness out of every pore, and she can smell it. She won't always know why she's cooling off. Her gut just knows. Emotional self-control is the foundation. Without it, nothing else in this video will work. You can learn every technique on earth, but if underneath it you're running on fear and neediness, she'll feel it leaking through everything you do. It's like putting expensive cologne on a body that hasn't showered in a week. The real smell gets out anyway. So before you can be the calm center, you have to actually be calm. That's not a trick you do to her. That's a man you become. Here's the next one, and it stings a little. A man who has nothing but her needs her. And a man who needs her has no pull. None. She can feel the need on him like a wet dog in a small room. Think of it like a job. If you walk into an interview broke, desperate, behind on rent, how much power do you have? You'll take anything. You'll swallow any disrespect. And they can smell it on you. Now walk into that same room already holding 2 other offers. You're relaxed. You're easy. You might not even take it. Same man. Totally different energy. And you didn't say a word about it. It's exactly the same with a woman. The man who's built nothing, who has no friends, no goals, no life outside of her. She knows, deep down, that he has nowhere else to go. She knows if she pushes, he'll take it, because he's terrified of being alone. And that knowledge, even if she never says it out loud, quietly eats away her respect for him. But the man who's built a real life, real friends, real purpose, work that means something to him, a body he takes care of, a direction that has nothing to do with her, that man could walk away and rebuild, and some part of her knows it. So he carries a different weight. He's not clinging. He chose her, out of a life that was already good. And being chosen by a man who could leave feels completely different than being clung to by a man who can't. So build the life. And don't fake it, she'll catch the act by month 3. Actually build it. Because the moment you truly stop needing her is the moment she starts feeling like she could never lose you. Now here's something about emotions almost nobody thinks about. Emotions aren't facts. They're not fixed. The very same event can hit her completely differently depending on where her head is at the moment it happens. Let's say you surprise her with a weekend trip. If she's feeling in love, feeling secure, excited about you, that's the most romantic thing in the world. She tells everyone. She can't believe how thoughtful you are. Now same exact trip, but she's been feeling smothered lately. She's been needing space. She's been a little unsure about the whole thing. That same surprise now feels like pressure. Like you're trying too hard. Like you can't read her. The trip didn't change. Her state changed. And this is where men crash and burn. They make grand gestures at the exact wrong moment and then can't understand why it backfired. He did something romantic. So why did she pull away? Because he didn't read the room. He gave her what he wanted to give instead of what the moment actually called for. So before you act, look at her. Really look. What does she need right now? Space? Closeness? To be heard? To be left alone for a night? The man who can read that is playing a completely different game than the man who just fires off gestures and hopes. Let me give you a rule that runs through almost everything. Whoever holds the frame controls the mood. Here's what I mean by frame. It's the unspoken meaning of a situation. If you treat something like it's a huge deal, it becomes a huge deal. If you treat it like it's nothing, it usually becomes nothing. The man who gets worked up over every little thing, who turns a small disagreement into a crisis, who brings heavy, panicked energy into a situation that didn't call for it, he's letting the moment control him. But the man who stays relaxed when things get tense, the man who can lower the temperature just by not raising his own, the man who won't feed the fire by overreacting to it, he becomes the calm center of the whole relationship. And a woman leans toward that calm, not because she wants to be controlled, but because that steadiness gives her a feeling of safety almost no man ever gives her. She can be a storm and know there's a rock she can crash against that won't move. That's rarer than you think. And it's magnetic. Let me be very direct for a second. Keep your own foundation, your own money, your own friends, your own sense of direction and purpose, no matter how good the relationship gets. Now, I want to be clear about why, because the weak version of this advice is poison. This is not about trapping her, and it's not about being cold or stingy. It's about you keeping the solid ground you stand on, so you're always coming to her as a whole man and not a dependent one. The man who slowly lets his whole life dissolve into hers drops all his friends, gives up all his hobbies, arranges every single thing around her. He doesn't become more attractive by doing that. He becomes less, because now he's got nothing of his own left, and a man with nothing of his own has nothing to offer but need. This isn't planning for failure. It's keeping the exact thing that made success possible in the first place, a man with his own 2 feet, firmly on his own ground. Keep them there. Here's a hard truth men don't want to hear. A woman decides based on how she feels, not on what she once promised. And this isn't an insult, it's just how emotional people work, and we're all emotional people. She might have told you she'd love you forever. She might have meant it with her whole chest when she said it, but she said it from inside a certain feeling. If that feeling fades, the promise starts to feel like it was made by a different person. Distant, not quite real anymore. That's why men get blindsided. They treat "I'll never leave you" like a signed contract, and then they're shocked when she acts against her own words. But her words were just a snapshot of how she felt that day. If you didn't keep the feelings alive that created those words, the words become old photographs, not promises about the future. Which means your job is never finished. You don't lock in her love once and then coast. You keep the fire lit every day. That's the deal nobody tells you when you sign up. So how do you keep that fire lit? Let me tell you about a tool most men never touch. Surprise. Here's the science. In plain words, your brain ignores anything that never changes. The clock ticking in your room right now, you stopped hearing it hours ago. It didn't get quieter. Your brain just filed it under "nothing new" and turned it off. The same thing happens to a predictable man. When she can guess every move you'll make weeks ahead of time, you fade into the background of her life. You're still there. She just stops noticing you. And a man she doesn't notice is a man she slowly stops feeling anything for. So stay a little bit unpredictable. Not chaotic. I don't mean be flaky or break your word. I mean the good kind of surprise. An unexpected date, a random gift on a random Tuesday. Changing up the routine, doing something she genuinely didn't see coming. And the deeper version of this is just to keep growing as a man, keep learning, keep chasing bigger goals, keep becoming someone new. A man who's always climbing can never be fully figured out, because he's not a finished thing sitting on a shelf, he's a story still being written. And people don't lose interest in a story that's still going somewhere. Freeze, and you become wallpaper. Keep moving, and you stay impossible to take for granted. Now here's where a lot of men hand over all their power in a single moment. Sometimes she'll test you. She'll say something to get a rise out of you. She'll mention an ex. She'll bring up some guy who was flirting with her. She'll poke right at your soft spot, on purpose or not. And if you react, if you show jealousy, anger, hurt, if you get defensive, you've just confirmed a whole list of things to her. That you're easy to shake, that your buttons are simple to push, that you're coming from a place of fear, that you're more into her than she is into you. Every single time she can trigger you, she quietly gains ground. Not because she's an evil chess master most of the time, she's not even doing it on purpose, but because the dynamic just showed both of you, who holds power over whom. The strong man doesn't take the bait, he stays relaxed. He might even find it a little funny. He answers with easy, amused calm instead of a flinch. And when her little test doesn't rattle him at all, something flips in her. Her respect goes up, because he showed strength at the exact moment it was being tested and passed. Here's a small one that most men never use. The feeling of looking forward to something is often stronger than the thing itself. Think about being a kid on Christmas Eve versus Christmas afternoon, when all the gifts are already open. The magic lives in the waiting. You can use that. You don't have to hand her everything the second you think of it. Sometimes you build it up a little. I've got something planned for this weekend. You're going to love it. And then you don't tell her what it is. That gap between the hint and the reveal fills up with excitement. She's thinking about it, wondering. By the time it actually happens, she's already emotionally into it before you've done a thing. It works in tiny ways too. Remind me to tell you something later. I had a thought about us. I'll save it for the right moment. These little open loops keep her leaning toward you, keep the engagement alive. Small tool, big effect. Let me tell you where good men go most wrong. This one's painful. When she treats him badly, the good man tries harder. She's cold, so he gets warmer. She pulls back, so he chases. She disrespects him, and he shows up with flowers apologizing for something he didn't even do. He thinks he's fixing it. What he's actually doing is teaching her that treating him badly gets her more of him. So why would she stop? Now here's the man who understands. When she's good to him, warm, respectful, adding to his life, he's warm right back. Present, fully there. She gets the best of him. But when she crosses a line, he doesn't explode. He doesn't lecture. He doesn't threaten. He just gets quiet. He pulls his warmth back. He becomes a little less available. No drama, no big announcement. He just stops pouring himself into someone who's being cold to him. And she feels that drop. It lands harder than any argument ever could, because now she's learned the real lesson. His warmth is not free, and his presence is not guaranteed. If she wants the best of him, she has to be good to him. That's not a game. That's just self-respect you can feel. What you allow, you teach. What you tolerate, you invite to stay. Now I have to talk to you about the hardest moment in any relationship. The one that separates the men who keep her from the men who lose her for good. The moment she says, maybe we should break up. Or, I need to think about whether this is working. Feel that drop in your stomach just hearing it. Remember that feeling. Because right there, everything you are gets tested. The average man panics, instantly. Full damage control. Please don't. I'll change. Tell me what you need, and I'll do it. I can't lose you. I understand it. It comes from love and from fear, and those are real. But hear me, the second you beg, you lose. You just handed her the nuclear button. You just showed her that the threat of leaving controls you completely, and from now on, every time you two fight, she knows that button works. She might not even mean it. She just has to reach for the door and watch you fall apart. Here's what the strong man does instead. He stays calm, he looks at her, and with real warmth and real dignity, he says something like, I don't want that. I love what we have, and I'd hate to lose you. But I'm not going to beg you to stay. You should never have to be talked into wanting me. And then he lets it sit. He doesn't chase. He doesn't send 6 texts. He doesn't crumble in front of her. And 9 times out of 10, she wasn't really trying to leave. She was testing. She wanted to see if you'd fall apart. And when you don't, when you love her but you're not terrified of losing her, the panic she was trying to put in you shows up in her instead. And she comes back with a completely different energy. Because here's the deepest truth of the whole thing. Write it on your bones. If you cannot survive losing her, you cannot lead her. The willingness to walk away, not as a threat, not as a bluff, but as something you could actually do and survive, is the ground everything else stands on. Not because you want to leave, because you don't need to stay. Let me put all of this into one real situation so you can see it move. A man came to me with this. He'd been with a woman about a year. Things were good. But she'd started making demands about a female friend of his, a friend from way before they met. Nothing shady ever happened. She wanted him to cut this woman off completely. No hangouts, no texts, gone. Now, the average man does one of two things here. Either he caves immediately to keep the peace, which teaches her that jealous demands get results, or he gets defensive and angry and starts a war. Both are wrong. Here's what the strong man did. First, he stayed calm. Her demand was heated. His answer didn't have to be. Second, he didn't cave, but he didn't dismiss her either. He said, "I hear that you're uncomfortable. Help me understand what's really bothering you." Not an interrogation, real curiosity. Because usually the jealousy isn't even about the friend. It's about some insecurity underneath, and it helps to find it. Third, he made his line clear. "I'm not going to end a friendship that's older than our relationship over a suspicion, but I want you to feel secure. Come meet her. Join us next time. If there's specific behavior bothering you, tell me and I'll hear it. A boundary without a fight. A compromise without caving." Fourth, when she escalated, when she threatened and pushed, he did not chase. He said, "You're really upset right now. Let's talk when we've both had time to think." And he gave her space. He didn't text her 6 times. He didn't show up with flowers to fix it. He let the tension just exist without rushing to put it out. Fifth, only when she came back calm and ready to talk like an adult did he fully re-engage. And by then she'd learned something. That blowing up doesn't get rewarded. That his boundaries don't bend under pressure. That he isn't scared of a little discomfort. And here's the twist, her respect for him went up. Her attraction got stronger, because he showed her the exact kind of steady leadership women crave and almost never actually get. Everything I've told you points at one thing, so let me say it plainly. Emotional leadership is not a trick. It's not a move you pull out when you need it. It's not something you do, it's something you become. The man who can truly guide the feelings in his relationship isn't following a script. He's coming from a real place, real calm, real self-respect, real options, a real willingness to walk away if it came to that. And you can't fake those things for long. A woman's instinct is too sharp. She'll catch the gap between what you're doing and what you actually are. So the real work, the only work that lasts, is becoming the kind of man these things come naturally to. Building a life so full that the neediness just evaporates. Getting real confidence through real wins, so it isn't an act. Facing your own fears so they stop leaking out in weak moments. That takes time, it takes effort, but it's the only road that leads anywhere real. The men who build the relationships they want aren't the best looking. They're not the richest, they're not the smoothest talkers. They're the men who did the inner work to become genuinely steady, genuinely valuable, and genuinely free. Become that man, and you'll never need a script again. The right thing will just come out of you, because it's finally who you are. Start with yourself. Get your own emotions in order. Build a life that doesn't lean on any one person. Get real confidence through real accomplishment. Learn to stay calm when everyone else is losing it. Practice not chasing when someone pulls away. And build a genuine willingness to walk away not as a bluff, but as a real thing you could actually do. Then you walk into your relationship as a different man. You're not trying to get her. You're deciding whether she fits the life you're already building. You're not bouncing off her every mood, you're setting the tone. You're not begging for respect, you're requiring it, quietly, as the price of your presence. Now hear me, because this is the most important part. Everything I just told you is worthless if you nod along, feel good for 10 minutes, and forget it by tomorrow. Knowing this changes nothing. Becoming this changes everything. So do one thing tonight. Pick the single weakest spot in your game, the phone checking, the chasing, the begging, the empty life outside of her, and start there, today, not Monday, today. And if any part of this hit you, if you saw yourself somewhere in that man's story, do 2 quick things before you swipe away. Hit subscribe, because I put out the truths nobody else will tell you straight, and I don't want you missing the next one. This is only the beginning. And drop a comment. Tell me, have you ever been that man? Ever given someone everything and watched them walk anyway? Or ever held your ground when it counted and felt the whole thing shift? Be specific, because another man is going to read your words and finally understand his own life. I'm in your corner. I always will be. Now go become the man she could never control, and the man you'll never have to fake being again. I'll see you in the next one.